Hello, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into another video. I literally just got done filming a Barbie video, and now I'm going to be talking about the nasty right in front of my Barbies. They're literally but it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. So it's June finally. Like, it's so crazy. Like, when I used to hate it when YouTubers would say things like, "Oh my gosh, it's 6 months into the year. Can you believe the year is over? Almost over." And I'm like, no, stop saying it. I haven't done anything this year. Don't say it. But it is June. It's Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. I've never personally been to Pride, and I don't feel welcome at Pride. To be honest, I don't, but I'll touch on that in another video. In today's video, I wanted to talk about like men and dating and experiencing or discovering your sexuality in your 30s as a trans woman. Like, for me, sexuality has always been something that has been secret, something that has been kept in the closet, something that I couldn't share with anybody else because nobody seemed to be interested in me in that way. And there were also all of these mental things that I was going through. I mean, how could I have sex with somebody if I was at odds with my physical body? If I couldn't even undress without hating myself, how could I possibly be comfortable in a sexual space with another person? So I mean, I remember my first year at the university, like experimenting with guys before I transitioned and not enjoying it, not knowing like what I was supposed to do, and it just being a very, very uncomfortable experience. And it was weird because when I would have like fantasies, in my fantasy, I was always this like beautiful, like goddess, and like, it was very much like I was a woman, and like it was that. And I couldn't connect what was happening in my reality, living as a male, with what I wanted. There was very much this like imbalance. So, like in my second year of college, I was like, let me just chill out with guys. Actually, I think after my first month of hooking up with guys, I'd hooked up with about 3 guys at that point. And I was just kind of like, no, like, I'm not feeling this. So, I ended up transitioning, and I very much still didn't feel comfortable in the early stages because I just felt like my body wasn't where I wanted it to be. And a lot of people don't understand how that's a hindrance to like enjoying sex. If you feel like your body's not where you want it to be, you don't feel sexy and it's not fun for you. So I ended up losing my virginity to this guy that was a really, really good friend. He became a friend through us having sex. That was the icebreaker. But I still very much didn't enjoy sex. It was still very much, I looked at it at the point of view of how can I be sexy for the guy? What does he want? What does he want from me? And I realized a lot of guys that are into trans girls are particularly attracted at the fact that they know that you are turned on. That's what gets them going. And different from like, sex that cisgender women have or post-op trans women have, pre-operative trans women, your member, Penelope, is very much a part of everything that's going on. And there is added pressure for you to show that you are enjoying it. And when you're having sex with somebody that has, Penelope down there, you can tell if they're turned on. I'm not going to be graphic, but you can tell when somebody's turned on. Whereas with cis women, yes, a lot of cis women during intercourse, they become wet. You know what I mean? But like, I kind of feel like they can fake it better than us. Like a cis woman can walk into a sexual experience and know that she can just lie down on the bed and just let the guy do whatever. That's not healthy for anybody. Sex is for two people to enjoy themselves. But in the cis world, especially in South Africa, it does happen. Girls are just kind of like, and be uninterested. Whereas with trans women, I felt pressure. I felt like I was, girl, these men wanted me to like swing from like the rooftops, which I can do now. But they wanted me to do the most, girl. So like I was insecure about my sexual powers, if you will. So I was insecure because I was like, I'm a rock up. Penelope's gonna be like, who is this man? Like, who is this man in front of us? No, ma'am, no, ma'am. She's just gonna go soft on me and it's gonna be awkward. So I mastered the art of oral pleasure to the point, like, it was a joke in my friend group that like I'm queen head. No one has the skills that I have. And it got to a point like I got to get at that you know, if I was gonna have sex with the guys, like I'm just gonna go down on him and I know he's gonna finish. And he always would. He always would. You know, like I'd have guys who wouldn't, like who wouldn't normally, but with me, I mean, sure, I got it done. And that speaks more to my level of insecurity. Think about it. I felt I had to overcompensate and excel in other areas so that we wouldn't get to the main event. And I was so good at distracting these dudes with other things. Girl, like I'm glad that I still have that like trick. Like I can still use that, but I don't do that anymore. I enjoy sex now. So let's get into it. How did I overcome this? Because surgery did not make me love my body in the way that we all think it's going to make us love our bodies. It didn't. It didn't, baby. Like, I got compliments and I could see I was feminizing, but I didn't believe it. And I was still awkward as all hell during sex. Girl, I think of my early boyfriends, like, especially like with, I don't know what his fake name is on this channel, and I don't want to say his name. We'll just say George. Especially with my with my first boyfriend, I didn't know what to do, and he was so sweet about it. He was extremely well endowed, and I did not. I didn't know how to top. I didn't even know that I would like topping. I assumed that I had to bottom because I was, you know, the girl in the situation. And yeah, and everybody assumed that I was bottoming. It didn't work out because he was too well endowed. I wish he would have warned me beforehand, but he was sweet about it, but we never really connected sexually in that way. And I was having these relationships where it felt time and time again that I wasn't connecting sexually in the way that I wanted. And it was such a weird disconnect because I could look at my boyfriends, girl, I could look at them and be like undress them with my eyes and be like, I want you so bad right now. But when it came time to us being alone and I had to be naked, I didn't know what to do. And what made it hard was I liked these guys. So there was already this nervousness. I wasn't walking into the situation confident sex goddess. No, I was very much an insecure little girl wanting approval from these guys, wanting them to pick me. So that interfered with my performance. Now, like I break up with Jimmy and girl, I thought I was gonna marry Jimmy. Like I was deep in the Jimmy train. So after like me and Jimmy like broke up, I very much wanted to sort of heal. I wasn't looking for a boyfriend. And there was this guy, and I've talked about him before. And we're gonna call him Francois. That's what I called him before. So Francois, however you want to say it. We went on a date. We didn't click. I got clocked on the date. I'm not going to go through the whole story time because these story times are traumatic to tell. So if you want the tea on that, I'm not talking about it again. It's in a previous video. But the long and the short of it is that I went on a date. The date didn't go well, and I felt bad about myself. I felt like it's because I wasn't presenting the way I want to present. So I felt like what I wanted to put out there to Francois, I almost said his name, was not being received, and I felt I was unattractive. So I had this incentive, or I had this point to prove in my head that I could get him. So after the date went to hell, I very much looked at Francois as something that I needed to conquer. And I'd never done that before. I'd never looked at a guy as something that it was never like I want to prove something to myself. It like him wanting me back was hinging on my like confidence. Like it affected my confidence and my self-esteem. I needed him to want me. And I needed him to want me so bad that I never stopped to ask myself the question, do you think you and this guy are compatible? Is he a good match for you? Are you a good match for him? No, it was like I was looking at one thing. So I'm dating Jimmy, and me and Francois, like, we're friends because he reads tarot cards, and I love tarot because, girl. And he read my tarot cards, or a deck of cards, and I asked him about my relationship with Jimmy. Now, we talked about like sex and stuff, and I made some jokes, and I'll never forget Francois's reaction. He sort of like, he looked down, and you know when you get the pre-consent, that's what it was. He was giving me the pre-consent. It was very much the energy of like, we're flirting, like, and I was being shameless. And I knew I was being shameless. But it was all in the guise of, oh, we're just joking. But, you know, with every joke is a little bit of truth. So me and Jimmy break up, and then Francois comes to Cape Town. We hang out, and hanging out turns into intercourse. Now, at this point, Francois is very good looking. He towers over me. He is very intimidating. Like he's a big guy. He is a big guy. He has this like low-key British accent. Like he's South African, but he sounds super English. Girl, he's just giving you like James Bond 2020. Like I'm a fuck a bitch up vibes. Like today, like he was that. But it was weird because like, yeah, like I had fun, and I know he had fun, but there were a lot of things I never considered when I went after him. So we hook up, and we're doing it for like hours. And I used him. That's what this boils down to. I used him as a way to perfect my skills in the bedroom. I used him to hone in on my skills, to find out, you know, like what felt good for me, and secondary, what was making him feel good. And it's so crazy that like, I don't know why specifically with him, but I sort of saw him as I can, I hate saying this, I can use my body to learn how to be better at sex. Now, at a conscious level, if you had to repeat this to me on the day, I'd have stepped back, I'd have prayed to Jesus, I'd have been like, release me from this evil that is selfishness. Because when I admitted that to myself, there was just this deep sense of like shame and embarrassment, like in that, like he's such a sweet dude, you know what I mean? I will admit that I romanticized dating Francis heavily, heavily. So I thought about it all the time, like if we ever dated, but he lived in a different town and I was in Cape Town. So logistically, even though we were on the same rock of land, it just felt like he was too far away. And I moved to the Eastern Cape and, we start to see each other. When I say this boy, like, he did everything that you want a guy to do. Like, took me out on Valentine's Day. Like, he was doing what you expect men to do. And, like, oh gosh, like, he's such a sweet boy. Like, he really is such a sweet boy. Like, we would have conversations and he would sort of say something like talk about a hypothetical situation and how he wouldn't like something like this happen, and then he'd think back to if that hypothetical situation happened to us, and like it was weird, like I can't even explain how sweet he was in in a way that would do him justice. But he was really sweet. But the thing is, and y'all are gonna think I'm crazy. Y'all are gonna think that I'm an idiot. Y'all are gonna think that, girl, like what? Me and Francis are so fundamentally different that I knew that if I got into a relationship with him, I would be hurt because I require so much from my partner emotionally. And I really felt it was unfair to sort of put that on him. Like, I grew up in a family where I love my mom, but she's a narcissist, and I love and accept her for the narcissist that she is, understanding that I'll never change her. So I don't go to the hardware store looking for milk. And that's what Francis was. And the reason I feel guilt is because I sort of came into a space. Let's make this clear. I very much actively tried to seduce him. I actively tried to seduce him with the comments I would make because I was so ego driven, that I wanted to prove something. And when I got him, I feel like a spider like about to like trap its prey. But when I got him in that space, I very much was like, I'm gonna use, I hate saying this, but I'm gonna use him to find out what I like about sex. And I mean, I literally owe him like like a portion from my Chatterbait earnings because everything I mastered in sex, no one let me ride them the way Francois did. And the fact that I didn't sort of like, I was completely ego driven. I was completely like, I need to learn how to have sex. I need to prove that I'm like sexy. I need. And then when I saw vulnerability in him and I had to ask myself difficult situations, I was like, am I playing with my friend's heart? Because that's what it boiled down to, was that over and above everything, this guy is my friend. Like, he's somebody that I care about, like at a deep, deep level. And just knowing that, I sort of like created, look, he's a grown ass man, no, nobody told him to, to bust it wide open. Well, I did. I'm going to stop. But all I want to say is just think about your sexual partners. They're people too. And it's easy for us to get caught up in the selfishness of sex that we forget that this is a whole nother person. I love you. I thank you. My laptop's about to die, so I have to end this. Bye.